Well, hello VC. So I thought of making something a little bit different today, and this is my first time responding to a video. And in this case, responding to a topic that I first saw on Dom's channel recently, but it was sick in a thread, but which was originally posted by Static Traveler, and that is intense records. Records that are kind of difficult to get through, that are definitely not everyday listens, um, that can make you feel a little unease and fatigued as a listener, even though they are intriguing, interesting, and rewarding pieces of art at the end, but they are demanding, difficult pieces of art. Um, so this topic has been on my mind lately because in the past few days I've been in equal parts enjoying and struggling with a very fascinating record by To Live and Shave in L.A. called The Wigmaker in 18th Century Williamsburg, which was an album that was originally released in the early 2000s, but only on CD, and was reissued last year by Bill Orcutt's label, Palilalia Records, in a 4 LP box. So it is a lot of music and very demanding music. So I will not be talking about this record today because I haven't been able to get through the whole thing yet, but I will talk about it soon. But I thought of joining the conversation, and I selected a few records that definitely fit that description of intense records. And even though some of these records are not like necessarily records that today I struggle with them. Um, I like with everything in life when you first encounter a piece of art like a book or a movie or a record that is difficult, confrontational, complex. When you get used to it, you give you like one, two, three, four, five listens. You tend to get used and not in a bad sense. You tend to understand and appreciate the more discordant static qualities of the work, but they all retain, I guess, a fundamental quality that I would say is like very important to the definition of what constitutes an intense piece of music, which is they all demand that the listener approach this with a particular type of attention, and they maintain that attention at a high intensity level of tension, right? Um, and they are like performances of relentless musical efforts by the players, and yeah, they are not everyday listens, but very, very, very rewarding. And I also picked two records that I think we can spin this meaning a little, because they are intense, they are demanding in a sense, especially for the musicians, but they don't leave the listener fatigued, and they do not sound like they're coming out to get you. They are quite the contrary. They're like joyful records. But let me begin. Some of these are like kind of obvious choices, you know. Like my first one, Machine Gun by Peter Kreutzmann Octet. It's an original on Kreutzmann's label, with a beautiful, just gorgeous silk screened sleeve, which of course the bad quality of the video doesn't do justice. But yeah, this is I guess one that immediately comes to mind when you think of intense music, intense playing, and musicianship, relentless and sonic assault that really never gets old. It's just as fresh and confrontational and just crazy. Yeah. My second pick, now in this case, this one is still a little difficult to me to get through. Definitely. I feel a lot of unease, especially in the first track, which is the first side of the LP, Echo by Dave Burrell, also a quintessential intense record, right? In the BYG, big label. Another like monument of avant-garde free music, just pretty intense. So my next pick, also on big actual label, there are actually picked two albums by Alan Silva. First, Luna Surface, and the double album Seasons. So this is Alan Silva and the Celestial Communication Orchestra. These are huge ensembles, free improvisation, huge waves of sound coming at you at all times. Definitely something that's really hard at first listen, but very rewarding, and it is the kind of record, they are the type of record that you can, with each listen, you can approach it differently, right? Because there is just so much stuff going on that it's humanly impossible to have sort of a global appreciation of it, that you tend to, or at least this is what I do when I listen to this, you tend to approach it from a different angle, right? You go looking for details or stuff that tends to be buried when you listen to it the first time, So it's kind of these are the kinds of records that they sound fresh, and they sound new with each listen, if you give it a chance, right? Also, like two records by the same artist, Albert Eiler, Spirits for Choice and Bells. Mine is the orange one. Now, Eiler to me is one of the most intense players that I can think of. His music is so absolutely rich and demanding, and it's the kind of thing that he's the type of player that gives you the impression that he is just incapable of playing trivial stuff. everything he plays is so dense and heavy in meaning, and that it is it's always an intense listen. Even if there was like a record of Albert Ayler playing solo saxophone, a single note for 40 minutes, playing that slowly, that would be an intense record because he's a very consequential, serious, and heavy player to to a metaphysical level. So yeah, these are two records that are very dear to me, and I always feel very moved when I listen to this stuff. Bells is such a moving record, and Spirits Rejoice also has one of my favorite tracks, which is Angels, and it always gives me chills and makes me. Sorry, my camera died on me. But I was saying that these Albert Ayler records, they always gives me chills. They always leave me on the verge of crying. They are intense listens at all times. But my next final picks, there are intense records that don't leave me feeling unease and or tired, but they actually make me feel joyful. And the first one is Ascension, also a classic record that it fits the bill of being called intense. Absolute masterpiece, one of my favorite Coltrane records, and I don't know. I guess that when I first heard it, I might felt it a little, that feeling of I don't know what's going on. There's just too much. But with time, it's just an album that makes me feel happy. I don't. It's such an ecstatic and a beautiful piece of art. Love this one. And last but not least, Dissension by Natural Information Society with Evan Parker. Now this is one that it's really intense playing, like relentless playing by everyone involved. But what I would say makes this qualifies as a particularly intense record is Parker's improvisation, his relentless playing, repetitive, but always adding something, a little spin. It's such a intense record, but something that leaves you, like really excited and feeling, I don't know, joy, right? And yeah, so these are my picks. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.